Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Y'all thought we was done? Did y'all think we was done? I know some of y'all checked out the episode of the Gumbo Pie Sports podcast that I just put out. Throwing 32 teams in 32 days. First episode, I talked about the New York Football Giants. I know some of y'all probably thought that was it for the day. Hex to the nah. We back here again on another edition of the State of the Saints podcast. And I want to say thank you to each and every one of you that have stopped by to talk about our favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be talking about Saints running back Alvin Kamara. And we got to discuss the W word, the big W. And that word is washed. And the question is, have we seen the best of Alvin Kamara? Have we seen the best that he has to offer? And I know some of you probably thinking to yourself, probably rolled up on it, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some of them after show boys out there that don't really look at the video, but just read the cover of it, and they want to give their big spiel about it without even looking at it and trying to put it into context. I can't stand those individuals, but I digress. But we're having this conversation because there was a NFL top 10 running backs article that came out by Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. And no, I didn't buy that joint. I do not like paywalls. I don't. I understand people got to get their money. I understand they got to get their Skrilla. But if you got some information, you want to put some articles out there, just put the damn articles out there, man. Why people got to be paying all this money in order for them to get your feelings and views? It's opinionated talk. But anyway, the top 10 of, the running backs in the National Football League. And, I shouts out to Pac Show Yo on X. He decided to purchase the article and tell us who the top 10 are. Number one, they have Christian McCaffrey. Number two, Breece Hall. Number three, Nick Chubb. Number four, Saquon Barkley. Number five, Jonathan Taylor. Number six, Bijan Robinson. Number seven, Josh Jacobs. Number eight, Jahmyr Gibbs. Number nine, Derrick Henry. And coming in at number 10 is a Louisiana native, which is Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that is your top 10. And you're probably wondering to yourself, where the hell is Alvin Kamara? Where's Alvin Kamara on this list? Well, Alvin Kamara fell to number 15. So people are starting to ask themselves, what happened to Alvin Kamara? Is he the same player that he once was? You look at back in 2021, Alvin Kamara was considered top 3 running back in all of football. Around, being, with Christian McCaffrey and Derrick Henry, he was in that conversation. And now, over the last couple of years, his average is 3.87 yards per carry. Never had a 1,000-yard season. Just seems like, it's not what it used to be. And people are asking themselves, is this it for Alvin Kamara? Is he indeed washed? And I've been having this conversation for quite some time because you still have some fools out there, and some of them are Saints fans. Yes, I am calling you out. There are some Saints fans out there that really honestly believe that this dude is indeed washed. They really honestly believe in their minds, in their little minds, that they feel like Alvin Kamara is not the running back that he once was. And I say this very, very, very wholeheartedly. If you are out here preaching this nonsensical rhetoric, you indeed don't know a damn thing about football. It's ironic to me that the last time we seen Alvin Kamara with any type of production and being considered one of the top running backs in all of football was 2021. Can somebody please help me and help me to understand who was the head coach of the New Orleans Saints in 2021? Whose last season was it as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints in 2021 when Alvin Kamara was considered one of the top 3 running backs in all of football? Somebody please help me out with that. Now, could it have been, regardless of how you feel about him or not, the greatest coach in New Orleans Saints history, one of the best offensive minds in all of football? Could it have been Sean Payton was the coach, so he was still dialing up plays that actually was suitable for Alvin Kamara? Could it be? Could it be that? And could it be that after Sean Payton retired, stepped away from the game, in comes Sneaky Pete Carmichael with his no play calling self, with his passive aggressive self, with his bubble gum getting self, was calling plays and not giving this dude the opportunity to show the masses what he has been capable of since he has come into the league in 2017. And let's not get it twisted also. The offensive line of the New Orleans Saints, as I fix my microphone, sucks. It has sucked over the last couple of years. I got nothing but respect for those offensive linemen, but even they would have to agree. They have left a lot to be desired in a Saints uniform on the offensive line. And we all know that Alvin Kamara, and this is who he is. We've seen Alvin Kamara catch a pass, run the ball, and not try to turn it up the field. We know that Alvin Kamara is going to make some business decisions. We know that. You know that. And some people would probably get upset and probably say, well, Alvin, you need to turn it up the field. I have been guilty of that. But when I look back at this offensive line and how terrible it has been over the last couple of years, can you blame Alvin Kamara for making business decisions? The fact that he knows that this offensive line isn't where it needs to be. The fact that he knows that this offense isn't where it needs to be. And he also understands how the NFL treats running backs after they reach a certain age. I'm hearing some of y'all talk, oh, well, he's getting close to 30. Some of y'all falling for this same nonsense that they've been telling y'all to fall for, and y'all keep on running with it. Just because a guy turns 30 or gets close to 30, he ain't a running back no more. He ain't the best no more. Man, miss me with all that stuff right there. Alvin Kamara is making these decisions because the offensive line of the New Orleans Saints and the offense itself with Sneaky Pete, with his no play calling self, was calling plays that were not suitable and getting this man absolutely killed. Why in the hell are you using Alvin Kamara like he is Earl Campbell, Jerome Bettis, or Bam Morris back in the early 90s for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Why are you using this guy like this? What the hell happened to the screenplays? What happened to the angle routes? What happened to the wheel routes? What happened to the things that have made Alvin Kamara special? Ask yourself that question and then come to me and ask the same question, is he washed? The answer is absolutely not. The guy is not washed. If you don't believe me, go take a look at the offense of the New Orleans Saints. Matter of fact, go back into the archives and look at the State of the Saints podcast after an embarrassing performance by the offense led by Andy Dalton, led by Trevor Siemian, led by some of these guys that couldn't lead a team to water if they were in a boat. And then come back and tell me it's Alvin Kamara washed. This is one of those situations where they want you to take it at face value, but it doesn't always tell the story. I can tell you what will tell the story. The New Orleans Saints hiring Clint Kubiak, hiring him as their new offensive coordinator. I would like to see Clint Kubiak calling plays for Alvin Kamara, because I did see a running back by the name of Dalvin Cook, who was under Clint Kubiak when Clint Kubiak was the offensive coordinator of the Vikings a few years ago, and he had his best season statistically in his entire career. So when you have somebody that can dial up, when you have somebody that's burning the midnight oil and trying to come up with offensively innovative ways to use very talented offensive weapons, you'll have somebody that can actually show the entire NFL world that Alvin Kamara is not indeed washed. This is an embarrassing topic, but it needs to be had because you still have some fools out here that is trying to preach this nonsense and is trying to talk this foolishness, and I have to debunk the nonsense because y'all know how I roll. I'm not going to sit up here and try to use kid gloves to try to tell you what you already know. I don't have a dog in a fight. I don't care how this sounds. You know the reality. Alvin Kamara was not used the way that he has been used throughout the time he has been with the Saints since he came into the league in 2017. Somebody please tell me how many screenplays the Saints ran. How many times have they used Alvin Kamara in a passing game? How many times have we had this conversation, opening up the phone lines, asking the question, why aren't they using Alvin Kamara in a passing game? They need to put some respect on this guy's name, but I get it. When you're talking about the New Orleans Saints in 2024, ain't much to talk about unless you're a Saints fan, talking about how trash and how embarrassing this coach has got this team looking. But I understand people want to write them off because they don't really want the Saints to be in that number in the first place. So any player that's having a down year, they're not going to put it into perspective. They'll go ahead and tell us how Dak Prescott or any of these other top NFL players that struggle in big moments, why they need to continue to have our confidence. We know how it goes, folks. Y'all know, y'all been watching enough sports shows. Y'all been looking at enough articles to know that they give big media market players the benefit of the doubt. They give Saquon Barkley the benefit of the doubt. And I ain't got nothing against Saquon Barkley, but let's just call a spade a spade. This man has been hurt throughout his entire career for the most part, but he's still up in there in the top 5. They try to find reasons to put guys in big media markets in that conversation so they can have these talks and feel justified to be able to talk about these teams that have been falling short for years. If you want to talk about Bijan Robinson, yes, there is some promise there. But this dude hasn't done enough, in my opinion, to say that he is one of the best. Breece Hall was out for the entire season his rookie year. Now all of a sudden he comes in and now he's top 3. We know what the answer to that is. It's the fact that Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of the Jets. The Jets are a big media market team. So if you got a guy that's given any type of production whatsoever, let's put him up there because we can feel justified to talk about him. We know what it is, folks. Okay? I ain't got nothing against those guys. Is Breece Hall talented? Absolutely. Is Bijan Robinson talented? Absolutely. Is Saquon talented? Absolutely. But we know when it comes to small media market teams, if guys start to struggle, they don't do enough homework. I'm talking mainstream media. They don't do enough homework on these guys. So they take it for face value, but they go and investigate like they're on the first 48 for those teams that's in big media markets to justify why this guy is struggling, to justify why this guy ain't in the top 10 in rushing, why this guy isn't in the top 10 in sacks. They try to put that thing into perspective and they try to paint this beautiful Bob Ross canvas. They try to paint this masterpiece and try to make people feel like these guys are worth talking about. Alvin Kamara is the same running back he's always been. The Saints have let down Alvin Kamara. Oh, we're going to have a conversation here live tonight. They have let this dude down. And anybody that's telling me otherwise don't know football. And you can come on the State of the Saints podcast and try to plead your case all you want to. Go back and watch the offense and tell me, are they using Alvin Kamara the same way they did when Sean Payton was dialing it up for this man when he came into the league in 2017? And then get back to me. Stop trying to be a hot taker. Stop trying to be a Skip Bayless or some of these other hot jocks that's out here right now because you feel like that's going to change the algorithm or change the video, to make the uptick go up. Bump all that. Let's have a real true conversation, and you have this conversation with me and tell me why you feel like Alvin Kamara is washed, and don't give me a bunch of talking points that came from Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless, Jeremy Fowler, or any of those other big-time media guys out there. No disrespect for them. I know they work extremely hard at what they're doing, but they don't know football, Saints football, like me. They don't know Saints football like you. I would debate any one of them. And unless they have an intern that's feeding them notes, I guarantee you, it will be a first-round knockout. Or any of these other talking heads out here that want to talk Saints football. They can come on here and we can have a conversation. But I guarantee you they won't, because they don't have any credible evidence that this man is washed. Because you have to, like I said, this is a position that depends on the success of the offensive line. If the offensive line ain't blocking, if the offensive coordinator ain't calling up plays and he playing timid, and he spitballing, throwing spitballs at the wall like, oh yeah, we ain't called that yet. What the hell do you think a running back like Alvin Kamara is going to do? But I tell you what, for all those people out there that want to wash their hands of Alvin Kamara, let the Saints let Alvin Kamara go. If you don't believe in Alvin Kamara, let him go. Let him go and see what he does with a team that actually has an offensive line. Let's see what he can do with, in Detroit. Let's see what he can do in San Francisco like Christian McCaffrey. I'm not saying that, he's going to these places, but I'm only saying this because these offensive lines are legit. Let him go somewhere where you have an offensive coordinator like, somebody that can dial it up, a mind like Sean McVay. I guarantee you, we're going to have a show like this, and people are going to be in the chat talking about, man, the Saints should have never let go of Alvin Kamara. This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm having a show like this. You really have individuals out here that's talking about this man as if this man ain't him. This dude is the same guy. All he needs is somebody to use him the way that he needs to be used. Don't use this man like he Earl Campbell. Don't use this man, like he Ryan Dane at Wisconsin back in the day. Like, I don't know, like some of these other Toby Gerhardt at Stanford. Having this man run up the middle. That's not his game. He can run up the middle, but that's not what he's for. He can do a multifaceted of things. Let's just hope the Saints know how to use this man so we can have this conversation again in 2025, and they can have this man in his rightful place as a top 10 running back. But let me go ahead and read some of your comments, and then we'll go ahead and go from there. It says Kamara at 21 is wild. These folks disrespecting the ish out of they getting on us. Well, look, I'm going to say this. One thing has nothing to do with the other. I want to say this. I want to make this perfectly clear, and I'm probably about to lose some people because y'all know how I roll. I'm speaking the truth. The New Orleans Saints have given mainstream media not a damn thing to talk about over the last 2.5 or 3 years. What have the New Orleans Saints done in the last 2.5 years that is worth them leading off mainstream media sports talk? Besides the fact that they need to fire their damn coach and he needs to be on a hot seat. You have topics about hot seat. Brian Daboll, Nick Sirianni, and Dennis Allen are leading the marquee. They have given us nothing to talk about when it comes to anything positive for the most part. We, for the most part, don't believe in this football team. Somebody please tell me, unless you really hella confident, can you, even if you're hella confident, can you say with all confidence that the Saints are going to just win a division, be a double-digit win team in 2024. Can you say that? Can you say that in all honesty? Can you say that with, without just being optimistic about the situation? This is one of those situations where I can understand. See, back in the day when the Saints were 13-3, 12-4, number 1, number 2 seeds in the playoffs, and they still trying to feed the Cowboys down our throat, even though they missed the playoffs, backed into the playoffs, moonwalked their way into the playoffs. I can get down with you with that. I can understand that. But when you are 7-10, 9-8, missing the playoffs, letting Baker Mayfield lead the Bucs into the playoffs over you, you keep fumbling all over yourself, and you have a coach that nobody believes in. What the hell do you expect to happen? What do you expect? What do you expect to happen, folks? I'm not about to sit up like this. Ain't the time. Like, this is not the time to have this conversation. I get it. We want to sit down and watch the NFL Network, and we want to hear them talk about the Saints, but let's just be real about this, folks. What have the Saints done over the last 2.5 years that is worth leading off a sports show? Absolutely nothing. If you want people to talk about them, if you want people to celebrate them, win some damn games. Go win a double-digit amount of games. Go to the postseason. Play lights out football. Improve your offense. Then we can have this conversation. Now, disrespecting Alvin Kamara, that's one thing. I do feel like he's being disrespected. But I also feel like the reason why he's being disrespected, those executives don't know what the hell they're talking about, because these top 10 running backs in the order of these running backs in the rankings were based on executives and, reporters. If you're not knee deep in a game, you don't know what the hell these running backs are doing. You're not putting this thing into context. But who the hell needs context, right? Who needs context when all I'm trying to do is look for clicks? Let me put Breece Hall name up here because he plays for the Jets. Let me put Saquon Barkley up here because he's in a big market. And I need the New York fans, and I need the Philly fans to look at my stuff and pay, on this paywall or whatever. Look, I don't know, man. They're not going to put this thing into context. Alvin Kamara is still a really good running back. And the disrespect that is being shown is just amazing. But the Saints have let Alvin Kamara down. Alvin Kamara hasn't let the team down. They have let him down. The reason why I'm having this conversation right now is because the Saints have let this man down. They have not allowed this man to cook. And because of that, people forget that this man is a damn good chef. How is that his fault? I have absolutely no idea. But I just don't understand it. Do I feel like his numbers dropped? Yeah, absolutely. I do. I understand his numbers dropped. I understand that there are certain things that he once did he's not doing, but that's not his fault. Call the damn plays. Become more innovative, become more creative. And then we can have this conversation about Alvin Kamara. AK with a good organization would be really scary. Yeah, I believe that. Like I said, let him go. If for those that may feel a certain type of way about AK, let him go. All right, I want to take this moment to acknowledge the Gumbo Pod Sports podcast that is available right now. I'm asking everybody to subscribe to that channel. Subscribe to the Gumbo Pod Sports podcast channel. It talks about all the hottest topics in sports. We're doing a segment called 32 Teams in 32 Days. I'll be breaking out every single NFL team around the league. Episode number 1, I focus on the New York Giants. And tomorrow I'll be uploading a new video about another team. I'll probably stay in the NFC East. I'll probably kind of keep it uniformal. So we'll be breaking down the NFC East, and then we'll just go from another division there. So subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think. The videos aren't long. I try to keep them between 10 to 15 minutes. So tell me what you all think. Hit that like button and subscribe because, like I said, we talk about some of the hottest topics. So we talk about any big topic that goes on. Like So feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to stroll down a little bit, trying to not go back too far. If I don't read your comment, go ahead and copy and paste it. Says TJ, that was a nice tribute you did for Jordan Addison. He's from DMV. I couldn't imagine. Well, that wasn't Jordan Addison. That was actually Kyrie Jackson. I know you were referring to Jules. Yeah. That was one of the episodes I did on Gumbo Pot. We know about the tragedy that took place over the weekend. Kyrie Jackson, 4th round pick out of Oregon, picked up by the Minnesota Vikings. Tragically died in a car crash along with 2 of his other high school teammates, man. I mean, car side swiped them, knocked them off the road. They hit multiple tree stumps. That's sad right there, man. Like, I don't care. Look, you may not be the biggest Viking fan. Yeah, I know none of us like the Vikings like that, but man, this man had a dream and this man worked extremely hard. This guy quit football. He was thinking about not playing football again, but decided to give it another try. I think he was working at a deli or something like that. And he decided to give it another shot. He goes to Alabama, starts the very first time in a national championship game. And then he goes to Oregon, becomes first team All Pac-12, gets himself drafted, looking at the fact that, man, I can get my mom out of this situation. I can get my family out of this situation, was playing really well, was about to be a starter based on a lot of reports. And then lose your life tragically because of a Infinity that's riding too fast, tries to merge lanes and just knocks this guy along with his 2 friends out of this world. Like, unbelievable, man. Rest in peace to Kyrie Jackson. Rest in peace to Isaiah Hazel. Rest in peace to Anthony Layton Jr. Those were his friends. Because like I said, normally when situations like this occur, we don't talk about the other people. We always talk about the public figure. We never talk about the other guys. But the Isaiah Hazel family is hurting right now. Regardless of how we may feel about somebody, a person has a name, they are somebody to somebody. So rest in peace to those brothers. We're using AK like Brandon Jacobs instead of Darren Sproles or Reggie Bush. Yeah, I mean, you got to use this man the way that you need to use him. And like I said, he can run in between the tackles, but that's just not what you just constantly are supposed to do with this guy. To me, the reason why this guy, I'm talking Alvin Kamara, is not in the top 10 is because of Pete Carmichael. Pete Carmichael ruined Alvin Kamara. Plain and simple. We got to get him signed, man. Yeah, I mean, you got to get him signed. I mean, I hope the Saints, Lord knows, I hope that this organization aren't trying to use this man's last few years as leverage to not to pay this dude. Because we all know the truth. Y'all know the truth. Y'all know the truth. Y'all know what the deal is. If there's one of those situations where you looking at this dude and you're not seeing the production and you're like, oh, man, I don't know about this. But when you change around your entire offensive coaching staff, when you know that this offense was pedestrian as I don't know what, I hope they ain't trying to use this as leverage to not to pay this man. I'm not saying that it is, but I hope that's not the case. Because give this guy an offensive line and an offensive coordinator that can cook and watch what this man do. I heard the same thing with Christian McCaffrey. When Christian McCaffrey was in Carolina, people thought that his career was over. People thought, oh, man, this was the best we can get out of Christian McCaffrey. This man goes to San Francisco, Offensive Player of the Year, Madden cover boy. I'm telling y'all, man, these people be putting these reports out here. They be trying to, appease these organizations. They don't want to ask these questions why these organizations continue to struggle, not have success, but it's always to play a fault. They firing coaches like a revolving door. Offense never where it need to be. Defense never where it needs to be. But all of a sudden, oh, it's the player fault. Oh, it's the player fault. Oh, they ain't getting it done. You picking in the top 3 every single year, but it's the player's fault. You firing coaches left and right, but it's the player's fault. You hire a coach in this case who never had a winning record until last season, and you're blaming the players. Most of the players that have been in the playoffs. Now you're trying to tell me that a player who has been flirting with top 5, top 3 at his position is no longer good. And we're not going to ask the question, when did it happen? When did the drop fall? When did we start seeing the production from this guy? We're not going to have this conversation. We're not going to have this conversation. We just going to say, yeah, he's just not good no more. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hate to say it, but Saints going to have another bad year. I don't know if they look. I'm not going to say they're going to have a bad year. I don't know. Clint Kubiak could be the answer. He could be what the Saints need. We know defensively, whether you like this dude or not, I understand that people want this man out of here. I'm talking Dennis Allen, but the man can coach some defense. You know you're going to have a good defense with Dennis Allen. That's his calling card. If you don't have a good defense, then you really got to ask yourself the question, why the heck are you here? Because despite the fact that you've been falling short, at least the side of the football in which you coach is the bright spot of the team. Now, if it wasn't, what leg does he have to stand on? So maybe if he has an offensive coordinator that can complement him, you can win some football games. My biggest concern is Dennis Allen in big-time football games that matter. He always seems to get out coached by coaches that have been in the league that are a little bit more polished than he is. He can beat those middle-of-the-pack coaches, the coaches that just got here about 2 weeks ago. He can beat those. But it's going to come a time when you're going to have to use strategy, and you can't be passive-aggressive. You got to be able to be aggressive. And you got to be able to make those calls and let the chip fall where they may. If they don't, then it is what it is. You know, people criticize Dan Campbell for going for it on 4th down all those times. But when he got to that press conference, he's like, and I'm paraphrasing this here, man, we weren't supposed to be here. Like, you know, man, the Detroit Lions, we're the Lions. Like, we ain't had success since you know, Barry Sanders, Herman Moore back in the early 90s. So, yeah, I'm going for it on 4th down. I'm trying to win. Justified. You know, being passive-aggressive, 4th and 1, 4th and inches, and you punting. Like, coward stuff. If you can't get an inch on 4th and inches, you don't deserve the football in the first place. So my biggest concern is not so much about the defense. If Clint Kubiak can complement what Dennis Allen is doing on the defensive side of the football, you can generate some levels of success. So I'm not going to say that they're going to have a bad year. I don't know. I don't know. This could be a year where they win double-digit games. But, you know, we'll see. Trying to use the last couple of years as a bargaining chip is disrespectful, and he should leave if they're trying to play on him like that. Yeah, I mean, if you're using that as a bargaining tool, then yeah, he definitely deserves better than that. Yo, Jerry, was Ice-T OG album about you? Like you said, TJ, it got to be a respectable offer, bro. Yeah, I mean, keep it respectable. You know, don't just sit up here and say, well, you know, you know, 3.8 yard average has dropped since 2021. You've been averaging about 864 yards a year. Put that thing into context. Put that thing into context. That's all I'm saying. I wish that people say good things about the Saints and not bad things, but I get it. Look, Jerry, like I said, if you want people to say good things about you, give them something that they can say something good about you with. Like, let's call a spade, man. Like, we as fans as onlookers, as reporters, even we are skeptical about this football team. So what do you think about individuals that don't have a dog in the fight, so to speak? They think that the Saints aren't good. We don't even know. It's a coin toss. It like you walking down the street, just walk down the street in New Orleans and just stop random people on Canal Street. Man, what you think the Saints gonna do this season? Man, I think they're gonna go 10 wins. Okay, man, good. Go to the next person. Hey, what you think the Saints gonna do this season? Man, I don't think they're gonna do much, man. Probably 7-10, 6-11. Okay, man, thank you. What you think the Saints gonna do? Woo, yeah, man. The Saints about to turn around. They're going to the Super Bowl. Mixed bag. Now go to a neutral state, that don't really know that much about the Saints. Go to Cleveland. Cleveland ain't really like they got to play the Saints, but they in the AFC North. Man, what you think about the Saints? Man, I don't know, man. They've been struggling, ain't they? I mean, Derek Carr, they got him, but he ain't really been doing nothing, right? Yeah, it's stuff like that. So if we are skeptical about this football team, and we watch them every day, and we keep up with the news about them every day, what do you think random Joe Blows off the street think about them? If you want somebody to say something positive about you, give them some positive material. You can't be out here being a tyrant and then think somebody is going to sit up here and be singing your praises. Oh, man, that was a great person, man. Like, he ruled with iron fist, but he was a great. No, give people something give them something that they can actually build on. Right now, there's nothing. Like, win some football games, be in playoff contention, be midway through the season, flirting with the playoffs, or having a 2 or 3 game lead over your adversaries, then we can have the conversation. But just saying positive things just for the simple fact of saying positive things, like that ain't how the world works. Like, nobody's going to be sitting up here talking about the Carolina Panthers, man, going to the Super Bowl on national TV after they were one of the worst teams in football. Like, they probably feel good to somebody that's staying out there in Charlotte or around this area I'm at right now who are Panthers fans, but that's not realistic. That's just not how the world works. It is a results-driven business. It is a results-driven world. Let's see. Brandon says, so you're saying all you need is a new philosophy and offensive scheme, and all of a sudden you take off. Who knew? Doesn't take rocket science to figure that out. But no, let's look at the players. Yeah, Brandon, I mean, that's what it is. You can't just continuously blame the players if your organization has constantly fumbled over itself year after year after year. Let's look at the Cleveland Browns, for example. Little sprinkles of success over the last 5 years have transpired. They were a Chad Henne 13-yard scramble away from falling into the AFC Championship game a couple of years ago. Their defense has been one of the top defenses in all of football. But look at that team. They've struggled throughout their entire history for the most part. And I'm saying throughout their history because we know that the original Cleveland Browns are the Baltimore Ravens. I'm talking about when they brought the Browns back, when Tim Couch was the quarterback, when they decided to, do a renaissance of the Cleveland Browns. They haven't done jack-ish, and y'all know it. But you're going to sit up here and blame the players for not being successful? You're going to keep on, or you're going to blame the organization? Sometimes you got to look at the organization. You got to look at the situation and say, man, this team hasn't made the postseason. Man, this team has fallen short year after year after year. Maybe it's time to look at the organization. But when you control the narrative like these organizations can, you can constantly have these rollouts about such and such showing up late, such and such wasn't looking at his Microsoft Pro. He didn't put in enough hours. Such and such threw 2 interceptions at practice. Such and such, according to sources, a teammate said something about him. You can put all these little nuggets out there to try to basically gaslight people and make it feel like it's the player's fault for them not having success. But you have to ask yourself this question. Who will bring these players in? Who are you putting these players around? Who is coaching these players? And who is keeping up with them? You don't have them conversations, do you? But instead, you blame the players because it's easy to do so. The phone lines. Thank you very much for $2 says open us. Not tonight. Not tonight. Not tonight. I'll do it on the next episode. I open up the phone lines because I'm on this StreamYard. Now I want to put it into context, folks. Not the fact that I didn't do it. I just didn't check it. And normally, like, I don't know, man. If I don't have these settings right, it's going to be a big technical issue. So hopefully on the next, well, not hopefully, on the next episode, I will take phone calls. I will take phone calls. But I'm just going to read the comments tonight. TJ, let's see, what do we have to do to not have to do cab gymnastics every year? Would be nice to see us in the positive at year's end for a change. Well, let me say this, Keen Arthur. What you do is you draft better. You draft better. You get guys that aren't projects. You get guys that can hit the ground running as soon as possible. You know, asking to replicate 2017 is a little bit of a tall ask. You can't do that. Like, to me, that was lightning in a bottle. But what you can do is you can do what Green Bay has done. You can get Jaden Reed. You can get Watson, Christian Watson. You can get Romeo Dobbs. You can get players that you can develop within your system, Jordan Love. And you have these players for 3 and 4 years on rookie deals. And if you're hitting it out the park with the draft, then you can find yourself being in the middle. See, the biggest disaster is the fact that the Saints had all those talented players in 2017, and they have really nothing to show for it in the form of a championship. Yes, they won a lot of football games. Yes, countless top seedings in the NFC, but you didn't get the ultimate result. Yes, back in 2018, the NFL screwed the hell out of New Orleans Saints. The referees, yeah, we already know what the deal is. But all I'm saying is, when you catch lightning in a bottle like that, you don't just you got to hit the ground running. So to me, you got to draft. Like, instead of getting these Peyton Turners who have been injured in college, and now you expect for them to be 100% in the pros, or, one of these guys, he was a really good guy. He really worked hard, and, he gave out red bean plates in college. He's a good locker room guy. But how many tackles did he have? Right? I mean, like, is his motor running hot? Man, I don't need politicians. I don't need baby kissers and handshakers when I'm talking about football. I need somebody with a screw loose on the field, not off the field. They can turn it off. You can talk about Michael Thomas all day, all night, but the dude was a maniac on that football field. Marshawn Lattimore is a lunatic on that football field. Too many baby kisses going on around here. Too many projects. Got more projects in the mouth for me and in the desire. Get yourself some guys that can actually hit the ground running. Get you a Sean project, because you can't afford to do those things anymore. Offensively, when you add Sean Payton, if a guy has a certain skill set, you can utilize that. But you can't do that in a Dennis Allen-led Saints organization. You can't. So to change this, start drafting better. Guy shows you that he had 100 tackles in college. He all over the field. He a maniac. Use that pick to get him. Oh, you don't fit our scheme. Find a way to fit it. Make it work. If you're a defensive-minded coach like you say you are, use them. You should be able to use guys in any way. It just makes me upset that the Saints just constantly try to go the traditional road. That's the reason why the Saints don't have a quarterback right now. You had an opportunity to get Lamar Jackson, but you were so afraid of his skill set that you decided to go with a guy in Marcus Davenport who stayed hurt and had 0.5 sacks the last time he played it for your team. And I wish Marcus Davenport the best. I know he with Detroit. This is not a shot, but this is just reality. He did not do what the Saints wanted him to do. He is not with this team. when you invest first round picks in guys, guess what? You expect for them to hit it out the park. I honestly forget that Peyton Turner is on a football team. When I'm having this whole little spiel and having these little monologues here on the State of Saints podcast, when I start naming pass rushers, I honestly forget that Peyton Turner played for the Saints. And it never fails. It has somebody in the comments say, and Peyton Turner. And I say, oh, yeah, I forgot. That is not a good look. You spent a first-round pick on a guy that most people forget is on a football team. You spent a second-round pick on a guy that you have to push and push and push, and Isaiah Foskey for his motor to come on. You basically have to pilot like this dude. I'm about to lose some of y'all young folks. Y'all remember that, man, when you used to have to set that fire and, you know, they used to have that heater that was on the wall and you have to turn it a little bit and then hit that little knob and it click, click, click. Gotta, you know, for the fire to start. That's what Isaiah Foskey is. And I don't feel bad about saying that because even your head coach has said this about you. This is the reason I'm saying this about him. Don't need that, man. But to answer your question, King Arthur, they just need to draft better. Get some dogs, man. Get some guys that are unapologetically them. Like you need the Mario Davis and Cam Jordans in your locker room. You know, ain't nothing wrong with a guy, you know, that's a leader and, you know, going to a gospel explosion after he done dressing like the good bishop. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, man, you need some dogs on the team. That's the problem. Anybody that resembles a dog or, you know, have that little grit in them or gonna bite back, they get afraid of them. That's why CD Deuce ain't with the team no more. That's the reason why, you know, Michael Thomas kind of flaked out. It's because when guys have any level of personality, they ready to buck the system, so to speak. They don't try to work with them. Or they locker room problems. You know? What you doing after practice, man? I'm going to Bible study. Man, what you doing after practice, man? I'm about to go to, you know, to the rescue mission to rescue these cats, you know, and drop off these cats that I picked up on the side of the road. They were in a box. That's cool. But, you know what I'm saying, at the same time, man, I want the dude that's, when he about to pull off, you know, in a facility, I want the music to be blasted. You need that too. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you pop, y'all know them boys, man. You know, you press the push button, start. As soon as the car fire up, and I'm down a bottle there, I got a bottle there. I'm gonna go and chop for real. Y'all know what I'm talking about, man. You need somebody you need some dogs, man. Man, y'all know what I'm talking about, man. You need a balance on the team, you know. You know, everybody can't be going to choir rehearsal at 6:30, bruh. Everybody can't be going to choir rehearsal at 6:30. Seahawk fan here. Love the content, man. Owen, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Shouts out to the Seahawk fans out there, man. We got a 32 team and 32 day video coming out real soon on the Gumbo Pie Sports about y'all, man. You know, man, I like Seattle. The Seattle fans are always cool, great people. Shouts out to the city of Seattle, man. Seattle has been voted on several occasions the nicest city in the United States. Now, I don't know if, you know, some people might beg to differ if they're from there, but I mean, everybody I meet from Seattle, I met quite a few people. Got an older gentleman that I work out at the gym with, one of the nicest people I ever met in my life. He's from Seattle. Axel Blum, thank you very much for $2. Said without Caitlin Clark, the Fever are 2-20 right now. Yeah, you know, like Caitlin Clark is a talented basketball player, you know, and you know, I have a video out on a Gumbo Pod kind of talking about her in detail. You know, I think that she's extremely talented, man. I just hate that people have to pin individuals against each other, especially women. I mean, why can't they all just be good? Aja Wilson, if you like Aja Wilson, you don't like Caitlin Clark. If you like Caitlin Clark, you don't like Angel Reese. If you like Angel Reese, you don't like Caitlin Clark. Like, why you just can't have an appreciation for what you're actually seeing? You have two young women, talented young women, who are changing the game of WNBA and putting eyes on the product. I mean, what's the problem with that? But of course, we have to have a conversation. Why the eyes on the product? Angel Reese, she play a part. No, it's Caitlin Clark. She's the main. Like, who cares? The problem is, well, the fact is, WNBA is in a spot they haven't been in since their exception back in 1997. So enjoy the ride, appreciate it, and put some respect on these women's names. They're talented, and now they're getting some attention. So that's all you can ask for, to me. Space Eater. Yeah, man, you know what I'm talking about, Kevin, the Space Eater. Alvin said, TJ, you crazy. Look, man, all I'm saying is, man, you need some rough rider. You need some dogs on the team. You know, you need some dogs on the team. Facts, TJ, a bunch of quiet boys on the team. All I'm saying is, you look, there's nothing wrong with, you know, having a team where you can actually turn your phone off at, you know, and go to sleep at night. Ain't nothing wrong with that, right? Occasionally, you'll probably get a phone call. Man, they arrested Chris Olave. You know, he was on his way to CVS. But that's few and far in between. Like, you don't really hear too many things happening with the Saints. You know, you're probably, you know, over the last few years you have, you know, but with Alvin Kamara, Marshawn Lattimore. But you have, for the most part, you have some good guys on the team. But you also need some balance, man. You need some goonies on your team, some guys with goonish tendencies. You know, you need that. Some people don't like Draymond Green, but you need a Draymond Green on your team. Too many choir boys to me, man. Even Sean Payton had his own theme song. What about overdrafting DBs when usually they have 2 or 4 on the field at a time? I don't have a problem with that because this is a passing league, Stu. We gotta look at it for that just alone. They throw the ball a lot in the National Football League, and when you're throwing the ball a lot and guys making tackles, injuries happen. And you know, I don't mind beefing up the secondary. I don't mind having too many talented members in the secondary because it's going to come a time where you're actually going to need all of them. Somebody's going to go down and somebody's going to have to pick it up. So I don't have an issue with that. I don't. When you have Drake London, when you have Kyle Pitts, when you got B. John Robinson out there, you got Mooney out there, you got Mike Evans, you know, you got all of these different talents. You got Trey Palmer. You got all of these different guys in your division that can go get it. And then not to mention you're playing other teams like Travis Kelce on the team. Xavier Worthy is on the team. Rashee Rice is on the team. You're playing Green Bay, Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed. You got Luke Musgraves. You got Kraft. You got so many of these other guys. Wide receivers, Amari Cooper on the team. And Joku. You got all of these guys that you're going to be facing in 2024 or just in general. You got to have some guys that can cover. And if you have more man-to-man coverage type guys on a team that can neutralize those wide receivers, to neutralize that tight end that can give production, you can win a lot of football games. Right now, the Saints and WNBA as a whole are prime examples of working against your best interests. Yeah, I don't understand that, and that's probably something I can probably go into detail on the gumbo pot about King Arthur. You know, just talking about that. You know, just basically what they say, cutting your nose off despite your face. Yeah, I see a lot of that going on. You so Nola. Yeah, I mean that's my city, man. That's my city. Let's see. I don't know how I missed the live notification after show, boys. I don't know, man. Honestly, I decided that I'm going to go and work from StreamYard from now on. I tried a new platform, man. It just don't work for me. Too much buffering and like quality wasn't really good, man. Delays when it comes to like the little jump clips, and so I decided to go back to the basics, man. Like I decided to go back to the basics and also just using my mirrorless camera for live, well, not live, but pre-recorded stuff, man. I decided to do that because there was just too many issues on that last platform. So I would have thought like you'll start getting more notifications now on this platform, StreamYard, because the other one, it wasn't sending it out. And I started to see like a lot of people didn't even know I was going live. Like most people would check out the show because they clicked and probably said, man, I wonder if TJ put out a video. So did anybody get a notification? Like when before the show started, did anybody get a notification? Just let me know. TJ, you think it's an issue to have guys who are scouting strictly off analytics and not on field intangibles like being a dog? Yeah, I think you need both. I think you need both. And I also think you need to trust your eyes. Like analytics don't always tell the whole story. Lord knows it don't. I mean, it's one of the main reasons why, a lot of us probably felt a certain type of way when Derek Carr first came to town. His numbers kind of resembled that of a quarterback that just needed opportunity and needed a situation where he can thrive. Now, his career is not over. This could be his year. It could be the year where everybody look at Derek Carr and be like, okay, this is the Derek Carr we thought we were going to get. But right now, it's not. So analytics don't always tell the whole story. You look at Dak Prescott throwing for all those yards. I mean, he throw for all those yards because his team is down by 3 touchdowns and he got to throw them back into the game. Some stats don't always tell the whole story. So you can't just look at analytics and just say, okay, man, we want this guy. Sometimes you got to look at those games late in the fourth quarter against teams that matter and games are on the line and chips are on the table. Did this guy deliver the goods? Yeah, they're saying his arm strength ain't where it needs to be, but every time he goes out there in a clutch moment, he performs. Sometimes you got to look at that running back. When they need 5 yards, he gives you 7. When they need 7 yards, he gives you 10. Oh, he don't have the good upside. He only bench press, 15 when you were supposed to bench press 20. Like, if a guy can ball, he can ball. And sometimes you just got to look at the eyes, and the analytics don't always tell the whole story. In this, I mean, you're looking at Brock Purdy out there coming out of Iowa State, last pick in a draft, coming out of his draft class, and this guy's been to the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl in his first 2 seasons. If we were just going based on analytics, then Brock Purdy doesn't even exist. But Kyle Shanahan looked at the tape and said, hey, I think they got something there. No, he doesn't have the big arm, but he can put the ball where it needs to be. So sometimes you can look at those analytics. Sometimes you got to look at the eye test and the analytics. And also you got to look at the guy and the way that he plays, the energy, the motor that he runs with. You got to look at that stuff. You got to look at it. You mess around and pass up on a really great thing. Brandon says WNBA continues to thrive, and I love it. Yeah, me too, man. I just wish they didn't, once again, cut off their nose despite their face in certain cases. And I think I'll do a video on that soon. You know how it go, TJ. You don't get credit for putting out a fire you started. That's true. And I still feel that way. Help. There's a ghost in the chat. Yeah, Ghostface Griller, man. What's going on, man? Appreciate you for subscribing to the channel, the Gumbo Pot as well, man. Thank you for that. That's how Eli Manning established his greatness. He was never the best all-around quarterback, but he consistently came up big in big moments. Yep. That's normally how it goes. Like we looking for 60-yard bombs down the field off the back foot, but that 60-yard bomb down on the back foot can lead to an interception. Linda says, TJ, are we in a rebuilding stage, or are we 2 or 3 years ago? Or do we just need a younger quarterback and a new head coach from winning a Super Bowl? I'm all over the place on where the team is. I don't know. Well, Linda, I think that the Saints, they will never tell you this, but I think they are. They are rebuilding. This is a rebuilding team. They are rebuilding. You don't change around your entire defensive staff back in 2023 and then turn around and change around your entire offensive staff in 2024. You don't, do some of the things that you're doing on the offensive line if you're not making rebuilds. You're not, not kicking the can down the road like you once did if you're not rebuilding. They're trying to get back to the middle. They want to be a player. And, everything says that they are rebuilding. As far as I'm concerned, like, I just think that this season is going to decide what the Saints need to do because, in my humble opinion, if Dennis Allen cannot get to the playoffs, if he cannot do better than he did last season with a 9-8 record, with a new offensive coordinator, quarterback comfortable in a new system that is known as the wide zone that has been successful around the National Football League, and you still can't get the job done, you're still falling short, you still can't get guys involved, you still can't coach your best games against elite stiff competition, then you told us everything that we need to know, and you need to go in a different direction. You can't sell Dennis Allen in 2024 if the Saints fall short. You just can't. You can't get to what those reporters do who you love so much and try to have them spin a narrative about what the Saints are and what they're trying to do and who believes in what, because all of that is irrelevant. Oh, they lost the locker room. Well, they got the locker room back. Who cares? I don't care if you lost the locker room and got it back if your team is 7-10 or 8-9 or missing the playoffs. I don't care. Who cares? Oh, he's having a positive, like he has a positive outlook on where the team is. The team believes in him. Man, there's a lot of people that I believed in, but I didn't put them in a management role when I was in retail. There's a lot of people that I liked and I respected, but I knew for a fact they weren't where I needed them to be at that particular point, or they would never be what I need them to be. So if you can't get it done this year, what leg do you have to stand on besides the fact that if Mickey Loomis just basically just says, look, I am who I am, I can do whatever I want. Like, you alienating the fan base if you do all these things over the last couple of years and not even a playoff berth is in the future. Not even a playoff berth is in the cards. You wasting time. I don't care who you put out there. You can put the person, man, you can have John Hancock illustrate the article about the Saints and Dennis Allen. Nobody would get two shakes of you know what. There's not a talking head or reporter that you can line up in front of folks. Yeah, and I don't want to say that because you have some idiots out here that just buy everything people sell. But I don't call them idiots, but people, they foolish. They foolish. They believe everything that they hear. It's not a person that goes, not a time that goes by when I put something out there, I say something. Well, I ain't hear that from nobody else. Who cares? You don't know who I know. If it don't come from a certain person, like, it ain't like, come on, man. Like, like, give me a freaking break. They buy everything that they sell. So if they say the reason why the Saints ain't successful is because of this player right here, guess what? They're going to be in my chat. They're going to be in Big Q chat. They're going to be in Hoodie chat. They're going to be in Dolph chat. Man, this the reason why they said. Man, y'all better stop falling for that banana in the tailpipe, man, and start looking with your own eyes. Y'all better stop doing that, man. Like, people trying to get paid, man. People trying to maintain positions. I'm not saying it's like that all the time, but man, these people ain't telling y'all everything that y'all need to know. They telling y'all what they need to tell y'all in order to maintain their position. And I ain't just talking about Saints either. I'm talking about these other reporters around here. I know how they rock. Not all of them, but they know who I'm talking about. They know who they are. Do boys, as I like to call them. Addressing a previous comment on a previous episode, there were skeptics about Kubiak. The only reason why I'm modestly optimistic about the offense, it can't be worse, but still remains to be seen. What I'm saying is, look, people are trying to put this narrative out here. And look, this is what I can't stand. Who, man, all you have to do is do your own research. Lord have mercy. Stop giving talking points that were illustrated by other people and do your own research. I can't stand that, man. Like, it really bothers me because I don't want people to be out here looking stupid. I don't want you to be out here looking foolish. Stop giving other people talking points. All of this stuff, even me, I have talked for an hour and 4 minutes hour and 5 now. Most of this stuff that I'm saying is opinionated talk. I'm not asking everybody to believe what I'm saying. Go and do your own research. When people say, man, well, Clint Kubiak, he was under Kyle Shanahan. He was under Kyle Shanahan, and Kyle Shanahan is a very good offensive mind. He's the reason why Christian McCaffrey is successful. He's the reason why Brock Purdy is playing well. He's the reason why Brandon Ayuk is one of the top receivers that is on the trade market right now because of what Kyle Shanahan did. He wasn't doing nothing. The dude was the offensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up for all those out here. So once again, you cannot go out here with these talking points that were manufactured and brought to you by the fine folks at whatever you got it from. The man was the offensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings back in 2021. This was the year before Kevin O'Connell came to the team. So in 2021, all right, so let's talk about the positions that matter. Let's talk about the positions where he was the coordinator. Let's talk about Kirk Cousins, the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings back in 2021. This was Kirk Cousins' stat line. He had a 66.3% completion percentage, 4,221 yards. He had 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. When Clint Kubiak left and he went to, I want to say, Denver, Kirk Cousins' stat line in 2022, 65.9% completion percentage. He had 4,547 yards, a little bit more passing, but he had 29 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. All right, let's look at Dalvin Cook. Let's look at Dalvin Cook. The focal point is on a running back. We're talking Alvin Kamara. Let's look at Dalvin Cook back in 2021. Dalvin Cook, 249 attempts, 1,159 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And I'm pretty sure, let me make sure, because I'm pretty sure he probably had some receiving touchdowns as well. So let me go to 2021 and see his receiving touchdowns. In 2021, he had 39 catches, 295 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns. So he had a total. No, excuse me. My bad. Yeah, okay. So he had 34 catches, 224 yards. So with that stuff right there, the offense, Kirk Cousins had his best season statistically, touchdown to interception ratio, when Clint Kubiak was his coach. Dalvin Cook, the year before, let me go to the year before. The year before, he had a really good monster season. He had a monster season on that. I'm not going to take that away from him. He had 16 touchdowns that year. But he had 249 yards, 1,159 yards, and 6 touchdowns. But he also split the backfield, and he also didn't play the entire season. So let me make sure that I want to put this thing into context. 2021, he played in 13 games. He played in 13 games. He had 1,100 yards. So who's to say if he didn't play in those last few games? If he didn't play, 4 games? Who's to say that what his stat line would have looked like if he didn't miss 4 games? So when you come out here and say, well, Kyle Shanahan was the reason why he was, on top. He was the reason why the Saints were looking at him. He didn't really do nothing. There's your answer right there. There's your answer. The man was extremely instrumental in the success of the Minnesota Vikings in 2021. The stat line of Kirk Cousins. The stat line of Dalvin Cook. Stop giving these talking points, man. Stop trying to stir the pot. Stop trying to be Skip Bayless. Stop trying to be Stephen A. Smith. Make sure when you come into the chat, make sure that you're coming correct. Now, some of y'all are just trolls, and y'all just say stuff because y'all know it's going to incite some type of emotion out of somebody. But I'm talking about these people that's going to argue you down, and you basically was in a car earlier listening to the same conversation you having at the barbershop. I'm just doing you a favor. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying, like, sometimes folks, we have a tendency of saying stuff that we heard instead of things that we've learned and developed and researched. Stop trying to look the part and be the part. I think Kendrick Miller and AK can be like Deuce and Reggie or Ingram with AK Thunder and Lightning. I agree. I like Kendrick Miller. I like him a lot, and I think he's going to be much better this season. That's a person that I'm looking forward to seeing in a Clint Kubiak offense as well, because he played extremely well. I'm gonna take a few more, and then we'll go ahead and get up out of here. I want to make sure that I think I pretty much caught up towards the tail end. All we got is Jerry saying get him TJ. I'm just saying, Jerry, like sometimes people take these talking points and try to make them their own. All I'm saying is it's cool, man. It's cool to like look at shows and get that information, but also, man, do your own research. Do your own research about some of these things. You know, that's one of the main reasons why I don't just do shows in real time and give you just, you know, real reaction type stuff. You know, because if I know I don't know that much about it, if I'm just hearing it, like on Twitter or something like that, and then all of a sudden, like I come on here and I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about, I'm doing a disservice to everybody. But some people, you know, that's just how they roll, man. They just want people to feel like they need to be the go-to. All they basically doing is just reciting what they probably heard earlier in the day from First Take or Undisputed or Speak or whatever these other talking shows be. And these people do a really good job at producing these things and having these talking points, not taking it away from them, but do your own research, you know, and come to your own conclusion. Don't be a robot. Don't be a cyborg out here in these streets. TJ, people pick and choose when they when to use content. Seems they only do it when it supports their argument. Makes you wonder if they're more concerned with winning the last word as opposed to being accurate. Well, that's what it's about, man. It's about talking to try to shut the other person up. You know, learning absolutely nothing. I think the art of conversation is listening. You got to be an effective listener. How in the world can you know how to transition or how to talk to someone or how to basically have a follow-up question if necessary if you're not listening to anybody? You know, if somebody be like, man, such and such had 90 catches, 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns. Man, this dude was a beast. Then all of a sudden you're like, well, he had 90 catches. Like, dude, he just told you that. But some of us, what we do is we just want to wait till that person finished talking so we can get our little points in to try to sound like we know what the hell we talking about. But I don't know, man. I just think that conversation and communication is becoming a lost art. It's not about what you know. Well, it's not about, getting better from conversation. It's about what you know. There we go. It's about what you know. Well, you know, who sounds the smartest, who's making the most points, who can get the biggest amen corner. Look all these likes I got, so I gotta be right. Man, please. Man, please. We live in a society today, and I'm not hating. You know, people just, they just feel like if a person looks the part, like, okay, if a person has a certain amount of followers or a certain amount of views or, all these different things, like all of a sudden, like they just more right than anybody else. Like, come on, man. Come on. You can get some facts from a drunk sitting outside Magnolia Stove on a Saturday afternoon more than you can probably get from somebody that's probably a college graduate, inside of their office for the New York Times, typing up an article about whatever. They can probably tell you more about the situation than that reporter can. You can't always just look at the person, oh man, they doing this. Like, come on, man. So these people work hard now. I'm not taking that away. I want to make sure I'm being very, very clear. They work hard. But at the same time, man, do your own research. I love the Gumbo podcast. I like that it's a good outlet to check out other teams. Yeah, man. I thank you for that, Ghostface. Yeah, I'm really passionate about sports, as y'all know. And man, my goal for 2024 is to elevate. It's not the fact that I'm trying to move on from what I'm doing here. I love what I'm doing, but man, there are just so many different layers to who I am as a person and as a broadcaster, as a content creator. And, I just want to talk about sports. I love being able to use the Gumbo Pot to talk about other topics. You can open up lanes to talk about boxing, talk about football, talk about basketball when some certain topics come up. And also to address like certain issues that may be going on in the world. So, I'm really excited about that. And I'm also excited about doing the State of the Saints podcast where I can come in and talk about a team I've loved since I can remember. So, and I appreciate it, and every podcast that I do, I try to do with a lot of passion. So hopefully that passion comes off the screen and, you all feel that. So I'm just asking you, if you're into sports, subscribe to the Gumbo Pod Sports Podcast. Let's see. TJ, you ever let someone talk themselves into contradicting their own argument? Honestly, man, I try to stay away from people like that anyway. Like, I don't like to sit back and be arguing with folks about stuff, man. Because quite frank, I like, and if you ever see me like on a podcast when people want to go back and forth, like, I don't even really like being on podcasts like that. Because people feel like that's what podcasting is. They feel like that's what sports talk is, and it's not. There's some episodes where I'm more animated than others, right? And, I try to be goofy or funny or witty or whatever, but sometimes it's moments where I just got to give you what's going on. You know what I'm saying? The facts. But some people won't get on there and just give hot takes. Like if I go on a Falcon show or something, man, we going to the Super Bowl. Man, y'all ain't nothing. Man, look who y'all quarterback is. Who y'all running back is. Like, dude, like, what is this, man? Like, what are we doing? That's why, like, if I go on a show, like, we're going to have a conversation. I don't have to, like, Falcons and Saints fans don't care for each other. If one team beats the other by 60, who cares? But at the same time, I know that you have the same love for your team as I do mine. So let's have a conversation about it. But in this world today, it's about, man, I don't think Trevor Lawrence should have got that contract. Oh, I don't think he should have got paid this. Oh, his backup better than him. Is he better than him? Or you just saying that because, put it on big, on a big thumbnail. Such and such better than Trevor Lawrence. Like, what are we doing? Like, are you going to look in the mirror and say to yourself, is this player better than Trevor Lawrence? Like, I don't like being on shows like that. I don't. And if I find myself being on a show like that, probably would be my last time being on a show like that. Let's see. Not to be rude, but when you're on them shows, look, all I'm saying is, Cartel, like, I don't mind having conversation. Like, I don't mind going, across the way to have a conversation. But I would like to have a conversation about what your team is, what they can do to get better. Okay, if our team's going head to head, who's gonna win this week? Like who's going, like, trying to find a viral moment, trying to find like a moment where you're just trying to, just try to back somebody into a corner so they don't know what they're talking about. Like, anybody that comes on the show, like, rather you are calling in or if I just, just so happen to be on your show, I'm not trying to back anybody into a corner. Your beliefs are your beliefs, but, like I said, that's not what podcasting is all about, in my opinion. It's about coming away better than you were when you turned on the video. Learn something. TJ, don't forget to tell your wonderful viewers to go sub to the Gumbo podcast too. Get that channel over 1,000. It's been stuck below 500 subs for a while. Yeah, because honestly, it's because I had so much State of the Saints content on there. Because I really wanted to figure out how I wanted to use that channel, but now I do. So I end up like taking the majority of the State of the Saints podcast episodes off there and kind of just restarting it from scratch. So, it'll come, but honestly, I'm not really even concerned about that. I just want to put out really good content. It's kind of like how I started here on the State of the Saints. I just wanted to put content out here. And, eventually, it just turned into, a podcast with, a lot of passionate Saints fans. So that's what I'm on, and I feel like, once I establish myself, I think it'll start to get a little bit better. Because I was, start reaching out to other people to be able to come on the show, conduct interviews, and do stuff like that. So maybe the team should put a lot of incentives for Alvin Kamara enough so both he and the team feels like it is fair. Well, I mean, these guys don't want incentives. I got to run for 10 yards every week. I can do that. But no, man, you want to get this guy a contract that is respectable and something that, he can be able to take care of his family and stuff, man. And if you can't do that, then let him go. I don't want to see Alvin Kamara go, but I also want to see this man respected as a running back and respected for his position and what he has done in the NFL. I asked TJ because I noticed it when you went on that NFC South podcast and those Falcon panelists were just ridiculous with their optimism and the trolling. Yeah, I mean, but that's what they did. Man, first off, they emailed me and they were like humble hat in hand type stuff. Like, man, we watch your content, man. We just want somebody that's down to earth to come on here and talk sensible about New Orleans Saints and the Falcons and stuff like that. Because it was the year where the Falcons played the Saints in week 1. It was the game where Jameis Winston led the Saints back from 18 back. But I get on the show and, all of a sudden, I started to see like there was this hidden agenda. Like people talking about, so what y'all going to do when such and such do this? Well, I don't know. I guess the defense going to have to adjust. Well, what you going to do when the defense do this? And I'm just saying that y'all ain't this and y'all ain't that. And I'm like, what? Okay, so honestly, that's the reason why I was like, man, I ain't want to be like, I ain't even want to. I really wanted to leave, but I was like, I wanted to maintain some level of professionalism, on it. So, I stayed to the end, and it ended up working out in my favor because they end up talking themselves, like you said, King Arthur, into a corner because they said all those different things about what the Falcons going to do to the Saints, and they end up losing in heartbreaking fashion. So, but all in all, man, I don't like being on shows like that. Like, but that was my fault because, like I'm telling y'all, I didn't really look into it like that because the episodes that I seen, they were actually talking sensible. There was it was a female, I guess she was one of the like co-hosts, like she was on the show and like she was talking sensible and it seemed like they were talking sensible. But I guess I rolled up with the Saints stuff on and the Saints background and they just couldn't help themselves. And I guess they thought they were going to get like a viral moment or something, but I don't know, man. I hate that people feel like that's what it takes, but I'd rather just put the content out there and have conversations. I never had like a Falcon guest on this show that I can think of, and I'm just going at him talking about what y'all gonna do when the Saints do this. Like that ain't healthy conversation. That ain't making your listeners better. That ain't making the listeners that follow the State of the Saints better. It's just a waste of time. And I'm on it, man. Like I was talking to my mom today. Like I'm not trying to waste any time. Like if we're gonna have conversation, let's talk. If we're gonna get better and elevate, let's elevate. But my time is precious. I want to have conversations. Like I want to have conversations. I want to talk about stuff. But I ain't trying to, have them, high school type conversations about what my team gonna do and your team ain't this and your team suck and we got this and we got that. TJ still enjoying that 45-piece nugget we dropped on them at the end of the year. But DA apology was a sour sauce. Yeah, I mean, doggone DA. But man, first, I just want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. And I actually like this platform because it seems like more people actually, got the notification and actually tuned in tonight. And I really do appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Much love to you. I'm going to do this one more time, and I'm going to keep on badgering y'all until y'all actually do it. But the Gumbo Pie Sports Podcast is available right now. Subscribe to the channel. Check out some of the videos that I've done. Recently, I've done a video about Cam Sutton, the cornerback for the Steelers, who received the 8-game suspension. And I'm pretty sure some of you probably know what was going on with Cam Sutton. Got a domestic battery charge back in March. Hid out for 2 weeks when a warrant was issued for his arrest. Talked a little bit about that and how that would affect his career. Talked about Kyrie Jackson passing away tragically in a car accident. Once again, rest in peace to that brother. Also, Isaiah Hazel and Anthony Layton, his two friends that were with him as well. Got that up. And also 32 teams in 32 days. 32 teams in 32 days. We're going to be breaking down every single NFL team over this 32-day span. Today, we did episode 1. We focused on the New York Football Giants. Kind of did that because, they're featured on Hard Knocks on HBO right now. So I just thought it would be suffice to actually start it off with them. We're going to keep it in the NFC East. So next episode, more than likely, we'll be talking about one of those teams in the East. But we're going to be breaking down all 32 teams. We have a video about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Gave my thoughts about that. And we're also going to be doing some college football talk and sports talk in general. So if you're into that type of stuff, subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. But thank you all so much. Once again, my name is Timothy J. Jones. If you just stumbled across this page and just found this handsome chocolate brother that just was on the screen, go ahead and hit that like button. Really do appreciate that. And, we're just a podcast. We're passionate about our team. We welcome everybody as long as you making some sense and ain't talking that nonsense and not trolling. This is a podcast. We're passionate about sports. We're passionate about the New Orleans Saints. So if you are a Saints fan, you are a sports fan, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We got previous episodes available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Anchor FM. And yes, I did bring it back. I did put it up here. So shouts out to all of them after show boys.
Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to them after show boys. Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting and be posting. They be tweeting. Yeah, them after show boys.
Shouts out to all the after show boys, after show girls out there. Really do appreciate it. And y'all already know, man, thank you so much for tuning in to the State of the Saints podcast. And like always, till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.